Welcome to the 15th edition of the Humpday Bogart special, and I hope you're all well. Today I am going to talk about a couple of things I have in common with Bogey. But first I'm going to show you some merch that I had made. There was a deal on for posters, and I like posters. Actually, they're all on that side of my room, but I'm not going to move the camera. It's of the artwork that I made for the album. That's it. A3 poster. And I designed that myself, and the little title things, which I'll talk about in a minute, because it took me forever to do. That was album artwork. That's the actual album. This is the one for, there's a song called Bogart's Eyes, its title track, and that's going to be the second single, and that's this one. The one we're calling Bogey. Very proud of that one, actually. And I know Crystal and Sam, you're going to be going nuts now. This is for In a Lonely Place, which is the first single. That one worked out quite well too. So I've got those to sell eventually with some CDs, which are going to have the album artwork on. And here is all the titles. I did everything by hand and then just put on the computer. But that is those two. That's on tracing paper with black and white pen. So there's 2 layers of tracing paper. And I did that the other day for In a Lonely Place. And these are significant because I searched the internet for examples of Bogey's handwriting, and then I spent ages practicing copying them, and each letter to try and make it more like his handwriting for the titles. Example here for In a Lonely Place. I was doing yesterday. I'll move an I in. Lonely wasn't quite so hard. But place is bloody hard because luckily I've managed to find capital P, but his capital T is like an F. It's really weird and curly. That's where I ended up. But what I really like about his handwriting is the way he does this extended along here. You see it with an E or something at the end of a word. He does a line. And there was a letter, I've forgotten who he was writing to. So it's a line, and then he's just got another random line, like he's like, oh, I'll just keep drawing. But I'm actually quite proud of how this turned out. No way am I going to be able to forge anything, I'm rubbish at it. But it was a nice idea, and I carried on with it. And this leads me on to the idea that I had basically since the start of this album, because of the things I have in common with Bogey. There's 3 things. 2 are more important, but one, he had Scotties and Sealyham Terriers. I grew up with 2 Scotties, and I currently have 2 Sealyham Terriers. If you ever see pictures, he had the Scotties around the time he had the Newfoundland with Mahon, and then I think he had the Sealyham Terrier. Those little white. If you see a white terrier with a patch on its ear, with Bogey, there's some pictures of him. I think he's in white. I think he might have had those before Mayo. And then, obviously, when he was at Laura McCall, he had boxers. But I currently have 2 Sealyhams. Quite by chance, I didn't know he had them until afterwards, but they're lovely little dogs and they're endangered. So if you ever think about a terrier, Sealyham Terriers are very lovely. Second thing we have in common is he was in the Navy, US Navy, and I'll explain more about that in a minute. And most of my family are, or have been, and I was very briefly myself. And thirdly, this is the sad part, obviously Bogey died of cancer, esophageal cancer, 1957. And my granddad died of leukemia a few years ago. And obviously everyone has this at some point in their lives. It's a hard thing to escape at the moment, which is where my ideas come in for the physical sales of CDs and merch, I'm thinking I want to do 10% of everything I sell to go towards a cancer research charity and a Navy charity. With hope Bogey might like that idea. As I'm in the UK, and I don't know how big this is ever going to be, there'll be UK charities at the moment. Obviously, if I do happen to take off somewhere, if this album does do really well, obviously I'll try and expand it to the US and wherever for other charities. But I thought 10% and then half can go to cancer research and the other half can go to a Navy charity. I think there's a Royal Navy and Marines charity in England that they can go towards. So if you like that idea, give me a thumbs up. And obviously those posters will include it. So Bogey was in the Navy between 1918 and 1919, just for a year. I have information here. Because I think his dad wanted him to be a doctor, because he is very clever. But I don't think that was really up Bogey's street. And he was meant to be going to Yale, but he got expelled from the college he was attending, so he didn't get transferred to that, which is probably just as well. I think I read something about him pushing a college tutor into a lake, but you know, maybe he deserved it. So after that, obviously didn't complete his education, but to be fair, I don't blame him. He decided to go into the Navy, which he enjoyed quite well. He wasn't an officer, he was I don't know what the American equivalent of a Navy is, but he did that, and they say he got his lisp and his scar on that side from, was it this side? They say from when he was in the Navy, when he was one account claims that his ship, the USS Leviathan, was shelled by Germans and a piece of shrapnel hit his lip. Another said he was transporting a prisoner when the man smashed him in the face with his cuffs. The third explanation says that the prisoner swung at Bogart when his hands were free. This could be a studio thing trying to, romanticise. Bogey claims it was probably just something from his childhood. But either way, he didn't get it seen too quick enough, and it obviously didn't heal very well. That's why he has that slight lisp as well. And then, but yeah, this is an interesting one. In 1919, I can't talk today. 1919, he transferred from the Leviathan to USS Santa Olivia, and he missed the ship when it sailed. Like, this is not the first time a Matlow's done that, and it won't be the last. And when it sailed for Europe, so he missed it. And he turned himself into the Navy Port Authority straight away. And so he was. I have read somewhere they said he was a deserter. He wasn't. He just went a bit AWOL for a bit, and that's what they said. And he was honorarily discharged June 18th, 1919. That was a couple of days ago. Seaman second class. And he sounded like he did really well while he was in there. I think it was good for him. I found it was good for me. He got solitary confinement for going AWOL, bread and water for a couple of days. But I think from that he decided he didn't. Obviously, his family were quite well off, so he didn't want to go back to that. He was hardworking, polite stuff, but I think from being in the Navy, the pretension and the snobbery of the class of people, obviously he grew up in, he didn't like, so he decided to work for a living and do other stuff until he eventually got into acting, which I admire him for a lot. I can relate to that. I went in the Navy, both my parents were. My dad was a jungly pilot, and my mum was a Wren for radar, and I finished school. I'd admit I also went to private schools, a bit like Bogey, but it can be very pretentious, and everyone at the end of school, we were basically pushed in to go to university, and I thought, I don't have anything I want to particularly do. They wanted me to do art, but I thought, why spend all that money when I don't think I'm that bothered? And half the other people, or their parents, they just wanted to go just to party, and I'm not really that kind of person. I thought, well, I might as well go in the Navy, and then at least I can earn money rather than get a nice, load of debt. Unfortunately, it took me 3 years to get in. I was only an AB as well. And by the time I got in, while I was waiting, I discovered music. And I did that, but I still went in just to see I did 6 months. I did my first phase, and then I left just before my second phase because they have something called PVR. So I could leave just before I owed them 4 years. But I think, like, he would probably agree. It did definitely rounds you, and I respect them a lot. I don't regret any of it. It gives you a lot of confidence. It's a great place to be. So if anyone doesn't know what they want to do, I recommend the Navy or the Army or the RAF or whatever you want to do. And yeah, I just admire and connect a lot more with Bogey on that level, and I think that's why he does so well in things like K Mutiny and across the Action in the North Atlantic. That's a good film. I like that one, and all those kind of things. And obviously, he still tried to help out afterwards. I think when the Second World War came around, he tried to sign up again, but he was a bit too old, so he joined the Coast Guard with his boat, and he patrolled up and down, and that's where Lauren Bacall would drive 2 hours to go see him for like an hour in between his shifts. So he was a good boy in that respect. So yeah, if you like my idea, I hope you do, then I'm just going to do it either way. And a little fact about me. So yeah, I'll see you next week. Stay safe, be happy, be kind, and I'll see you later.